What's going on, everyone? I am the Authors of Wrestling, aka your Keeper of Truths, and today we're going to be going over my 2021 Elimination Chamber predictions for this Sunday. We are just one day away from the 2021 WWE Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, and honestly, I'm not quite sure about this one. I'm really not quite sure about this one. Usually we at least have somewhat of a solid card ahead of us so we know what's going on, but at this point we don't really have that, and honestly, two matches really seem to be up in the air at this point as well. Since that's the case with this pay-per-view, I think the best thing to do would be to start out with those two matches. So to kick off the predictions here, I think we'll go with Asuka defending her Raw Women's Championship against Lacey Evans. If I would have done these predictions prior to Monday night's episode of Raw, I probably would have said that Lacey Evans was going to win this match and probably go on to WrestleMania and defend it against Charlotte Flair. But on this week's episode of Monday Night Raw, Lacey Evans announced that she was pregnant, and I believe that this is actually real, and she's probably going to end up getting written off TV. So that's why I'm not quite sure that this match is even going to happen. I'm not sure how far along she is. I'm not sure how far along you can be and wrestle at the same time. I have absolutely no clue. So I would probably say that this match gets canceled or someone else takes Lacey Evans' spot. Either way, if this match does happen in some way, shape, or form with Lacey Evans or even someone else, I have Asuka retaining her Raw Women's Championship. And after that, I'm not quite sure what she's going to do. The next match on my list here that may or may not be happening is Bobby Lashley defending his United States Championship in a triple threat match against Matt Riddle and Keith Lee. So from what I understand, for some reason, Keith Lee might be out of this match. Now, I'm also not sure if that is just going to put an end to this match or if it's just somehow going to become a singles competition between Matt Riddle and Bobby Lashley. So I'm going to give two predictions here based on that. If it remains a triple threat, I have Keith Lee pinning Matt Riddle to become the new United States champion. And I have that so that Bobby Lashley continues to look strong. And then what I would do is have Bobby Lashley go into the WWE Championship scene, or maybe even look for that fight that we are all looking for against Brock Lesnar. I would have him just not look back and just leave the United States Championship in his rearview mirror. Now, if this match does turn into a singles match, I think I'm going to have to go with Bobby Lashley retaining. He's been so dominant. He's actually been pretty protected as well, which is interesting in this climate for WWE. And I mean, to be honest, he's been squashing Matt Riddle week after week. So it only makes sense to have Bobby Lashley retain for the singles match. Before we get on to the next match prediction here, I have to tell you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you are not already subscribed, and please make sure to hit that like button as well. It helps me out a lot and I would greatly appreciate it. We do a lot of live streams here for every single show, and I plan on doing more videos here in the near future as well, so it should be a lot of fun. Also, if you're into gaming, please make sure to check out my gaming channel, youtube.com/PhantomSpec. Lots of good games played there. I play a lot of Destiny 2, Fire Pro Wrestling World, Luigi's Mansion, and Super Mario Maker 2, and lots of other games coming on the way. I will be reviving this, so I would love for you guys to be along on my gaming journey as well as my wrestling journey, so hopefully I will see you there as well. Now, let's get on to the next match. I like to wait as long as possible to get out these prediction videos for these pay-per-views for one very specific reason, and that is because you never know what is going to get booked right before the shows happen. So last night on Friday Night SmackDown, WWE announced one more match for the Elimination Chamber, and that is Big and Shayna Baszler defending their WWE Women's Tag Team Championships against SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks and the 2021 Women's Royal Rumble winner, Bianca Belair. This match really seemed to come out of left field here. We already have number one contenders in Lana and Naomi over on Raw, and also Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai just won the Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, so they are runners up as well for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, but for some reason WWE decided to go this route instead. With that being said, I think the most probable thing here is that Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair will dethrone Big and Shayna Baszler to become the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions ahead of WrestleMania. If that does end up happening, it'll be pretty interesting to see how well Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair can get along while they're still trying to feud. I really think that the match that's going to happen is Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair for the SmackDown Women's Championship at WrestleMania. So maybe they'll still be holding them even when that match happens. Will be very interesting to see, that is for sure. It is finally time to discuss my predictions for the Elimination Chamber matches, and we're going to start off with Drew McIntyre defending his WWE Championship in an Elimination Chamber against Kofi Kingston, Sheamus, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and Jeff Hardy. Now, the story here is that every single participant in this Elimination Chamber match is some sort of former WWE champion. And honestly, I really see a lot of different ways that this could go. I think for my prediction, I'm going to have Drew McIntyre retaining the WWE Championship. But some interesting things that could happen is that Sheamus could end up defeating Drew McIntyre, and then they could run the match back at WrestleMania. This would have Drew McIntyre defeating Sheamus at WrestleMania in front of fans. I think that's what Vince McMahon has wanted this entire time. So I could definitely see them doing that once again, but I would hate to see it since we saw Randy Orton win the championship for like a week or two, not too long ago. Something else that's interesting to note is that The Miz is still carrying around that Money in the Bank briefcase. So at any point, he could also attempt to cash in during this match. So, hey, maybe we could see The Miz as the WWE Championship at the end of the Elimination Chamber. Not something that I'd be looking for, but it is a possibility, I guess. Next up, we will be crowning the number one contender for Roman Reigns and his Universal Championship. This Elimination Chamber match will consist of Cesaro, Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, Jey Uso, King Corbin, and Sami Zayn. Now, the interesting thing about this match is that the winner will have to face Roman Reigns on the exact same night. Now, they weren't very clear about whether that would be directly after the Elimination Chamber or just sometime later in the night. So it'll be interesting to see how they do that and how that affects whoever wins. I definitely think that no matter who wins, that is going to be the downfall. The downfall is going to be having to go through a hellish Elimination Chamber only to go up against the top guy in the company directly after. For me personally, I would pick Cesaro to win this. Cesaro winning would be great. I think it would be a huge boost for him. And then also, like I just said, having to go through a hellish 30-45 minute Elimination Chamber match only to go on and face a fresh world champion is gonna be an uphill battle for anyone. So Cesaro winning the Elimination Chamber and then losing to Roman Reigns directly afterwards, I don't think is a huge problem. I definitely think there would be fuel for a Cesaro and Roman Reigns feud later on as well. They could continue it through Fastlane. If Edge doesn't end up picking Roman Reigns for WrestleMania, if he ends up picking Drew, then you could do Roman Reigns versus Cesaro at WrestleMania as well, which I think would be fantastic. One of the other possibilities here is Daniel Bryan. That's a good choice as well. You could run it back at Fastlane as a filler if they are going to go for Edge. Another thing that I've seen some people mention is that Jey Uso could potentially win this Elimination Chamber and then just do one of the lay down jobs for Roman Reigns afterwards as well. That might be a better way to get some heat on Roman if that is the way that they want to go. Just have Jey Uso lay down, Roman wins, and that's it. The heat would come from not actually having a match and not seeing him defend it. So it will be interesting to see what they decide to do here. I don't think King Corbin or Sami Zayn have any chance of winning this whatsoever. And man, if Kevin Owens wins this and I have to watch another Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns match, I'm going to lose it. And that's not to say that their matches aren't good. They're not enjoyable, but man, we have already seen like 3 or 4 of these, and it's time to move on. It's time to do something a little bit more fresh, and it doesn't get more fresher than Cesaro taking on Roman Reigns, if you ask me. Last but certainly not least, we get to what I believe is going to be our main event of the night, and that is Roman Reigns defending his Universal Championship against whoever wins the Elimination Chamber match. Before we get too far into the predictions of this, I do want to apologize for using this extremely low quality picture, but it's the only one that I could find of this, so I had to do what I had to do. No matter which way you paint this scenario, I definitely think that Roman Reigns is walking out with his Universal Championship. There is absolutely no way they're going to have this man drop the title anytime soon. I certainly don't see him dropping the title at WrestleMania either. This one, like I said earlier, is pretty straightforward. I definitely see Cesaro being the winner of the Elimination Chamber. If it's not Cesaro, it'll be Daniel Bryan, and I think that they'll have a decent match here. And if it's those two, they'll probably go on to rehash this match at Fastlane coming up before WrestleMania. Now, the alternative, like I mentioned before, could be Jey Uso. If that's the case, Jey Uso would probably lay down for Roman Reigns. And then I'm not quite sure what they would do for Fastlane. Maybe they could have that Cesaro or Daniel Bryan match there at Fastlane before we get Roman Reigns versus Edge at WrestleMania. I'm not quite sure, but the one thing that I am very certain on, and that is that Roman Reigns will walk out of the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view as the Universal Champion. All right, guys, that is going to do it for my 2021 Elimination Chamber pay-per-view predictions. If you have some pay-per-view predictions, please let me know down in the comments. I would love to read them, and I'm going to be going through the comments all day and reading them and replying to every single one. So make sure you take care of those and get those listed down below. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you're at the end of the video and you're not already subscribed, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. It really helps me a lot. I can't believe how far we've come in such a short period of time. I think my first video was sometime in December of last year, and here we are with like nearly 1,200 subs, and we are so close to monetization. So I can't believe it. Thank you all for all of your support. And like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing all of your pay-per-view predictions down below in the comments. And more importantly, I can't wait to see you all for the Sunday post show after the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. See you all on Sunday. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.